Hey, book club besties.
From Scrubs to Book Club, we're two burnt-out healthcare workers who love to yap about books. I'm Katie.
I'm Star, and welcome to Aimless Attention Podcast.
Today, we're going to be talking about Brimstone by Callie Hart. We fast read this so we could get this podcast up, and then I got sick the day that we were going to film it. So this is like a week later than we wanted it to come out, but it's still pretty soon after release, so I'm proud of us for getting to this book so quickly.
Not only that, but I was thinking, spoiler alerts all the way across the board.
Oh, yes. Okay,
Because a week later, half the people are probably still reading that book. This book is thick, okay?
Yes, it is a big boy. It is huge. Like, I have the Target edition here, which it has a bonus chapter from Carrion in it, so it's a little bit longer. But it is Carrion's bonus chapter is like 5 pages. It's not that big. But yes, spoiler warning for Quicksilver, the Kingfisher chapters, and Brimstone. So there is so much to unpack about this book. I can't begin
The Kingfisher point of view was a huge deal, though. I'm just going to throw that out there. If anybody's watching this and you didn't read it, it fits the whole damn story together.
Yeah.
Because until you told me and I read it after, I was like, wish I would have read this before, but it still makes sense and it gaps all of the holes.
Yeah, so I guess before we get into the book, let's talk about some of the criticisms this book is getting. So one of the things that came out, so Callie Hart says you don't have to read the Kingfisher POVs in order to read this book. And that's true. So those are free on her website. And then Anthony Palmini and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the other girl's name who does Saris's voices. She's amazing too. But they also recorded the Kingfisher POVs for Audible and stuff.
Yeah, it's like $2.
Yeah, it's super cheap and it's really well done. But they're technically not required for this. The Brimstone does cover enough that you get the idea of what's going on. However, I would say if you really want to understand what's going on and like the significance,
a difference. Yeah. It does. I'm telling you.
Because
read it. It made a huge difference.
Yeah, the Kingfisher chapters cover all of Adjun Gate, so we understand why he's Kingfisher of the Adjun Gate. Mm-hmm. We learn about how Nimmerell became Nimmerell.
Yes.
And we learn about there's some stuff about Onyx in it, right? As well.
Yes.
Yeah. So some of his relationship with
Onyx
Onyx is explained.
Towards the end, you see like how he really did love him before you get into this book. Because when I was like, when did he start liking this freaking fox? Which I mean, I've loved the fox since the beginning, but I'm just saying like there's that weird.
And we get the
confused.
all the Al-Shakrai. All of that with the dragon is in that. And so when we get into Brimstone and they start talking about dragons and stuff some more, it's really important when you get to the Adjun Gate that you understand what that is. Because if I hadn't listened to, like, we get Laura's
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, we get Laura's song in Quicksilver, which it kind of explains a little bit of the Adjun Gate, but not nearly like the Kingfisher POV. So I would recommend, if you haven't read Brimstone yet, or if you did read Brimstone and you're still kind of like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Go back to those Kingfisher chapters because it explains so much.
Exactly what Katie told me was that I was confused. I was like, where the fuck did the dragon come from? And what the hell happened here? And then like the sword, you kind of knew like where the name and stuff came from, but it makes a huge fucking difference of why he named it, who she was, the whole nine. It was just a completely, it filled in gaps that you didn't know you were missing until you got the other side. And you were like, I was like driving in the car, son of a bitch, that makes sense now.
Because, okay, so am I wrong, but it seems like Morell and Fisher were kind of almost like a little romantic, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But she does say like, you were always my brother or something.
Yeah, I guess maybe it was just a really special kind of brotherly love and sister love that they had together because they were really close.
Yeah, I just don't think that he loved her like in that.
Well, he knew he had a mate and stuff from his mom, right?
That's what I'm saying though. Like I think like the love was definitely like there, but not.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just what I was picking up on when.
Okay, so because we're going to talk about it anyways, who gives a shit? I'm just going to spoil it. Because when he's sitting in the dark and he's like thinking about her and she shows up, it was. I had that feeling, but I didn't have that feeling that he loves her the same way that he loves
Saris.
Thank you.
No, I don't think so either.
But I got like love her in a way that was like definitely more than just this is my friend's sister.
Yeah, because like when he's hallucinating and she comes back and she says, "Am I still beautiful?" and he says, "You're always beautiful."
Yeah.
Like, so I think there was a special connection he had with Morell in that. And so knowing all of that from the Kingfisher POV, when Renfis, or is it Renfis or Lorith that tells the story in Brimstone? I can't remember. It has to be Lorith because I don't think Renfis would have been able to tell the
I don't think so.
It was Lorith. They were in the tavern, I think, and in Santa Throth, I believe, is what happened. And he was telling the story because I don't think Renfis would have been able to tell the story about his twin sister dying. So I think it was Lorith. But yeah, so we kind of got all of that in Kingfisher. We get a little bit more of it in Brimstone and a little bit.
He does tell a little bit of the story, though, at the gate, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
But I don't think he's the one telling the beginning part of the story.
No, I think it's Loreth who explains that Nimmerel was named because Morel bound her soul to the sword.
Yes, that makes more sense. So I was like, wait, towards the end, he does talk about it for a second.
Yeah, so that's one of the criticisms this book got, is that technically the Kingfisher POVs are not necessary, but they are super hugely helpful to understand this story, and they're completely available to people online for free.
Yes.
So like that, as I don't have a problem with those types of things. Like Rebecca Yarros does the same thing with Fourth Wing. She will release chapters for free on her website. I think Elsie Silver does the same thing for her books. So those scenes that are available to people, I don't mind, but I do have a problem with the fact that it wasn't included in Brimstone.
I still
think
that
it wasn't tacked on to Quicksilver.
I think it should have been tacked on to Quicksilver as like a bonus chapter.
Yeah.
Or a bonus, like it wasn't long. It didn't take long at all. It was super fast. So it could have easily been like a little slip in and nobody would have noticed. Or you could have done half in like a slip in and then like half in like this book, like as you're beginning like your epilogue. Yeah. And then the other one could have been like.
And that's why I feel like, while I enjoy hearing Anthony Palmini voice Fisher, I almost felt like, and I could be wrong, and I don't want to say anything against Callie Hart, because Callie Hart made these chapters available. They were a separate thing she did outside of publishing. And remember, Quicksilver was indie published originally.
Yes.
So she published these Kingfisher chapters free on her website. They're still available. It even says like, these haven't been checked for grammar errors. Like, this is just something extra I wanted to give you guys. So I have nothing against Callie Hart and these Kingfisher chapters existing at all. But I do think the publisher took them as an opportunity to get more money out of her fans by just releasing them as Kingfisher POVs that you had to pay for on Audible than if they would have just been included in Brimstone or something like that.
I get it, but it was super cheap on Audible. It was only like $2. So it was
I think it was on sale for $2. And
is that what it was?
Yeah, it's not expensive in terms of everything, but like for something that is actually fairly impactful to the story, I was a little annoyed that it wasn't like included. But nothing against Callie Hart.
Yeah, but I guess in that weird way, you didn't need it. It's just if you really liked Quicksilver,
yeah, I guess I just want all the lore.
Needed it because you needed. It filled all the gaps for me. Yeah. I was in the car screaming, "Are you fucking kidding? How come I didn't know this before? That makes so much more sense." Like, I wish that, like...
And I told you I was bored listening to the Kingfisher chapters. So I was like, I don't care about the Ajun Gate, but it's so important. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like listening back, because I was like, what the fuck? Where did the gate come from?
Yeah.
What the fuck is happening? So, like, yeah, it made a huge difference for me. Like, it was like... I was really entertained because I was like, what? And holy shit. Like, in that, and like, it... I just read the goddamn POV because I'm telling you, it made a huge difference. And I was really upset that I didn't read it before because you were like, she said it doesn't. And so I was like, oh, why waste the energy? Or we're going to read Brimstone in like a week.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, I was so disappointed.
Yeah, I
wish that she would come back on and be like, hey, read these. Like,
yeah. Well, I think, I mean, like you said, technically,
I mean,
not required.
It makes a huge difference. And if you're like us and you want to know the whole story, read the damn thing. Because I was so pissed. I was like, who doesn't want to know all of that?
I know. And it was, like I said, the Ajun Gate, especially in Quicksilver, because we know he's Kingfisher of the Ajun Gate.
Yeah.
But, like, it's kind of like this thing that, like, he got famous for, but, like, we don't really know. And it's important because, like, he can touch iron. Like, it was burning his hands, but he was still able to do it. And we learn later why there's some extra specialness to Kingfisher, and we'll talk about that as we get into Brimstone more. But, like, there's just so much to it. The other thing that this is getting a lot of flack for, and again, I'm not coming at the author for this because I think it's entirely the publisher's fault.
I agree.
There are editing mistakes in this book, and when there is an entire team of editors and a publishing house that is going through this is not an indie published book. This is a traditionally published book. There are a lot of people that had their hands on this. I think they were trying to get it out too quickly and didn't pay attention. There are multiple issues with the editing in this book.
Yeah.
If you're a vibes reader, it doesn't really matter. I still love this book, regardless of all of that. I don't think it's Callie Hart's fault at all. But there are times where Zilvarin and Evelia are mixed up, where they'll be in Zilvarin, and they'll say, oh, here in Evelia. And I'm like, you're in Zilvarin. Like, right now, you're in Zilvarin. And then they'll say, well, in Zilvarin, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're in Evelia. And I kept getting confused because I was like, it's been a little bit since I read Quicksilver, but I remember the names of the realms, right? Like, and then there's one time where Sarah says, oh, Carrion is fighting with Lorith, and you're like, Carrion's not even in this location. Like he's in Amatreath or wherever. He was not there.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, he's not there. And Callie Hart did post that she had asked her editor to remove it, and they didn't. So that was a mistake that happened. And then there is the second smut scene where Saris talks about how usually Fisher just like takes all her clothes off with shadows and just shreds them apart. But he's taking his time. So he slowly takes her shirt off. And then later he's pulling her shirt down over her breasts. And you're like, wait, she doesn't have a shirt on.
All right, don't kill me. I didn't read any of the smut scenes.
Okay, so
I literally was like, smut, fast forward, smut, fast forward.
This was another critique I had though. So I was reading the smut scenes. I enjoyed them. But when you're reading it, like all the chapters are long. So like it doesn't feel like one scene's taking way too much time. When I listen to it in audio though, you're right. I went to bathe my toddler. I had the books playing in my head.
Yes.
Kids playing in the bath. I'm just listening to the audiobook. Smut scene kind of starts. She's in the bath for like 20 minutes. It's still going. They haven't even started anything and it's still going.
Yeah.
Like it's still like starting up. I get her all ready for bed. We're sitting down. I go to take her into bed. It's been 45 minutes and they still have not started having sex yet.
Yeah,
and
that's why I was like,
what
I
is
can't.
going on?
I just
and you're
can't.
right. It didn't add anything. Like there wasn't, because you're like, maybe I just missed stuff because they do talk throughout it. But the entire time it's just Kingfisher being like, I'll worship you. I'll worship you.
That's what I was
We're having
wondering.
sex. I'm going to worship you. I miss you, because they're in the cabin. And I'm like, while I do love the smut scenes and they were well done, I also am like, you're right. When you're listening to it and it's like, it's a 24-hour audiobook. It's not a short audiobook.
No,
and you're just listening to it like they haven't, like he still hasn't even started fingering her yet. Like,
yeah. No, I have to say, I just skipped the whole chapter. I was like, if I missed words, then it was fine. It didn't, but I would start listening to it, and then they would just be like, "You're so beautiful." That was like all they were saying to each other. So I was like, I can't do this. I was like, are they going to have a conversation? Because like, like some books, man, they have conversations during sex and you're like, miss shit if you don't listen.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? So I would like hit 10 seconds, nothing, hit 30 seconds, nothing. And I was like, fuck it. Whole chapter skipped. I was like, actually, what I think I did was I would like take like my finger and roll it across and then let it go, and then it would still be like, and then they're like, and I was like, nope, scrolling forward and then let it go. So at a certain point I was like, no, I'm good. They're not. There wasn't enough like.
If I'm in the mood for it, great. Well written smut scenes, I enjoyed them. When I was reading them, enjoyed them. Reading them back as an audiobook because I had already just read the book, I was like, I don't need to listen to this. So
it's just not. I mean, I'm okay with smut, but like I feel like I'm kind of burning out. Like, could we just write a story that doesn't?
Liked it. I just, like you said, it was it forwarded their emotional relationship as a couple, I think.
Yeah.
But in terms of like forwarding plot, maybe a little Silver Flamesy, you know.
I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, there's a point. I don't know. There's a point where it's like fun, and I was telling one of my coworkers that it was like fun. Like, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But like, I enjoy it in like small doses. I felt like it was like, okay,
they were really long chapters this time.
Okay.
So those are like my main critiques I have of Quicksilver. Otherwise, like, this book's amazing.
Yes.
I love this book.
I really did enjoy this book.
So we start off Brimstone by the prologue, which is Kingfisher, who is walking through Amontrea. So when we left off on Quicksilver, Saris had died, basically, and she had turned vampire by Taladeus, and then she got kind of kidnapped by the gods while all this was going on. And while they were like going through the Quicksilver or whatever, the gods pulled her back. She got turned into a half fae, and they also obscured her fate. The god of chaos obscured her fate from the rest of the gods. So now everything that happens with her and Fisher is obscured. They can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
So now she's a half fae, half vampire, and she is the queen of Sanis Roth. So she is living in the palace in Amontreath with all of these vampires that hate her, because they're like, what the fuck? And we start learning about the court system and everything. But first we see Kingfisher is stalking through the halls, and one of the High Bloods comes up to him and he kills him, because the High Bloods have been seeking him out specifically to die. A lot of them, because the only way they can really die is by fire or like the Godsword killing them, that kind of getting their head chopped off. And so Fisher like kills him. And then Carrion shows up and he's like, we need to look out a window, man. And he's like, I really don't want to fucking talk to you, Carrion. Like 90% of their interactions are so funny. And I love how much Carrion and Fisher we got just having to be off on their own little adventure.
I fucking love Carrion.
They're so funny. But Carrion's like, you got to look out this window. They find this like tiny window to look out because obviously they don't want sunlight coming into this castle for all the vampires to get burned by. And a little white fox is running away from a horde of feeders.
Yeah, at first I was like, what the fuck are they talking about that was running? I didn't forget Onyx. I just for some reason was like, what? Because the way they describe it, I was like, something is moving? Like I was confused. And then I was like, oh shit, the fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get the, he's like, Karen's like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to save a fucking fox. And
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they get on a horse together. Karen's like, well, I'm coming too. And he's like, fuck you, Karen. So Carrion comes. And again, Carrion's in his full Fae form now. Because the glamour is off.
Okay, so I have to tell you, Kingfisher is probably still my favorite, but fucking Carrion's coming in as a hard, like he's like almost about to take over.
I
think it's
Carrion.
because I'm like I loved Kingfisher, but I'm dying with Kingfisher's like personality now that he's like I'm in love. It's faded. Like now I'm like, all right, I need Carrion. Plus I like Carrion's fucking. He's definitely my boy. He definitely has the right amount of like sarcasm, spitting, shit talking that I was like, all right, we could be friends. Like we would definitely. I don't know.
So for Kingfisher, he was not my favorite of the Shadow Daddies in Quicksilver because he's just a little too rough around the edges for me.
Which I appreciate that.
You
I like that. Like
I felt like
he started getting a little too soft for me, and I was like, I'm out.
I told you when we were at work, I said, was he just Rhysand in this book?
Yeah, I
know.
Because
he was. I was just like, I literally wrote down a quote because I was like, is this just, when did Rhysand get into this book? Because it was just Rhysand. Like, he just became like this, like, I'm never going to take away your choices. I love you, Feyre. Is what I kept expecting him to start calling him Sarah's Feyre. But he said, I will not rob you of your path by insisting I carry you. And I said, okay, Rhysand. Because I was like, I love Kingfisher in this still. I love Rhysand's my favorite Shadow Daddy. So I don't mind that his personality kind of morphed a little bit. But again, it almost makes him like, it takes away that rougher edge of him other than when he's around Carrion. And then even Carrion starts kind of like sanding him down a bit because he's seeing who Carrion really is. So we lose kind of that sarcasticness a little bit. And because we aren't getting Cerys and him together a lot in this book because they are separated a lot, or he's just spending a ton of time trying to comfort her with the fact that she's like this new queen, which I guess shows that he's like a good partner in that sense. But we don't get like a lot of their sarcastic quipping that we got in Quicksilver.
Which I enjoyed because now I feel like you said, it's like listening to Rhysand talk to Farrah. My problem is that I miss the like broody, like kind of asshole-ish guy. Mm-hmm. I can't stand that he's like, because it feels like a super like 180 personality change. It didn't strike. It wasn't enough of a personality change. It was like a hardcore like flip, and you were like, wait.
Like, it was very sudden with Cerys.
When did you get all soft and like?
I wish we could have had like time where, because Cerys was out for like a week, like she was not awake. Yeah. Right. And so I guess we kind of got it a little bit at the end of Quicksilver where he was like talking about staying at her bedside and stuff. But it's almost like I need more of Kingfisher having to deal with the fact that his mate might die. And he had already kind of like given up the fact that she was going to exist for him. And so when she came and rescued him from the maze and everything, I think he had finally kind of accepted it. And he's like, oh shit, she could have died. And so like I can see the personality change in that sense. And she's in a really weird position. So he's trying to be like super like supportive of her and stuff. The change that I did see in his personality that made a ton of sense for me though was with Carrion. Because I felt like he was still himself.
I agree, but I still think even with her though, he should have still been a little clippy. Like that's you meet somebody and like you don't expect them. They're not going to change that much. If a person's a jackass, they're going to be a jackass. They might soften, but they're still going to have like little. But like,
Cerys was that way too.
That's true. So and I thought she was a little too like.
Yeah, Cerys just kind of like melted down a little bit.
Just a little too much. So like she was like, I don't know. She did definitely. Yeah, you're right.
They both kind of like got stuck in their situations a little bit, I think. But I do love the fact that Kingfisher is still kind of trying to hide the fact that he loves Onyx so much, but he's like I have to go save this fucking fox. So Carrie and him go and save him. It's like a whole thing with Carrie like falling off the horse, and like they save Onyx and everything. And then and we find out that Kingfisher has a well of healing magic as well, and he uses all of it to heal like his little broken, his little cracked feet and everything, for Onyx. So Kingfisher uses all of that up to save Onyx, and then brings him to. We find out he ran all the way from Kalish, right? So he crossed the Darn, he escaped feeders, he went through the mountains, all this stuff. So,
fucking fox, man.
Good old Onyx coming after Saris, and Saris is just like, oh my god, I love you so much, and that was really cool to get that reunion because I do love that fox.
I know. So back to Tog, because God forbid we ever don't talk about it. I was thinking about how we fucking lose Fleetwood somewhere
Fleetfoot
in the
all the time.
like Fleetwood. I always think it's Fleetwood, like we're Fleetwood Mac, right? Sorry. So I was sitting there realizing, like while I was listening to this, I appreciated that she kept the damn animal in the whole time.
Yeah.
Because like you lose the damn dog, and then you're like, oh yeah, the dog. This one, I was like, the fucking fox, yes, it's still in the story, because I wasn't sure if they were going to keep the fox in the story or not, like if they were going to be like, you know, sometimes like the author's like, yeah, well, it's just a side character, we don't really need them. So I was like,
I almost feel like when SJM introduced Fleetfoot, she didn't expect for it to become such an issue, and then she was like, well, like, I can't have the dog in all these wars, so we're gonna give it to this random family who's gonna hang on to it, and that random family's never gonna be attacked, they'll be fine. You know, so but yeah, no, it is nice to see that Onyx kind of gets to be a part of everything, and we also just get to see that Onyx is just as strong as Saris. You know, people say that they're like pets or like them and stuff, so like I think Onyx is very much like Saris in a lot of ways. And then we kind of fast forward to she's spending a ton of time with Taladeus, who is her maker. I hated that word, by the way, when she would say, my maker is here. And I'm like, just call him Tal, please.
I felt like they did it on purpose, though. Like almost like that might have been like where her personality was actually showing in. Like she's being kind of a little bit of an asshole. Like,
well, and she also could sense his emotions and stuff, and he was always so sad, and she's just like, I don't want to feel his emotions all the time. Like, this is making me really uncomfortable. And she's also now connected to Kingfisher, obviously, because they sealed their god bindings, and like she's his mate, and so she's like sensing him all the time. They're like always reeking of sex, giving each other new tattoos, and Taladeus is just kind of like, hi, I'm gonna teach you how to be the queen of Sanus Roth, but also make sure that it doesn't look like that I'm like puppeteering you, because we find out that we have the low bloods, the high bloods, the feeders, and then we also have the 5 lords of midnight. And Tal is one of the lords of midnight. We also meet Zovina, who is the reason why Taladeus is a vampire in the first place, because he was in love with her, and he went to Malcolm to get changed or whatever to be with Zovina, and then Zovina blew him off, you know. And so that's a whole complicated mess. Then we have a couple others and the Hazrax. The Hazrax, who is...
Sorry, guys. I just realized my phone was not only on, but I was being texted a lot.
Oh.
So I was trying to message in case you're watching and you're like, what the hell is Star doing? She's trying to correct a situation.
So we have, because they're like, we need to coronate you or people are going to keep attacking you, you know? And so she goes to do the coronation. She meets the 5 Lords of Midnight, which are Algit, Zovina, Etherol or something like that.
I suck at names.
Taladeus and the Hazrax. And the Hazrax is the Keeper of Silence. The E guy, whatever his name was, I can't remember because he gets killed right away. He is the Keeper of the Even Light. Zovina, I don't remember what she is. And then we have Taladeus there as well. And then Algit is the Keeper of Records. So she like lives in the library and has a shadow cat and stuff. And they're all like complaining about the fact that she's here. And then Algit, while they're like doing this whole coronation thing, is like, you haven't fed yet. You need to feed. And she's like picking through Saris's mind too. And she's like,
that one was creepy. Yeah. Especially because she said she kept feeling something like on the I don't know. That just creeped me out.
Yeah, it was super weird. And so she's like picking through her mind, and she's like, you haven't fed yet. You're not like tied to the blood like we are. And she's like, I'm not going to feed. Like, what the fuck? And then Kingfisher's like, it's fine. Just, like, feed off me. And then she accidentally doses him, which we learn about in this. So I think she gets bitten in Quicksilver, right? I think she asks him to bite her, but I don't think we ever learn about his venom in Quicksilver.
Yes, we do. Because,
we do?
Because remember, she was like, that was like the best, like whatever she'd ever had. But she didn't realize that when she did it, she was going to do it to him.
Oh, I thought, because she asked Lorith about the blood trade at one point.
But I don't think she realized like that she was going to dose him.
No, she didn't realize she was going to dose him because she bit into him and she was like, wait, what am I doing? And she like stopped. And Kingfisher's like, for the love of God, drink.
Yes.
Please, for the love of God,
yes.
drink. And then later on, he ends up in college because like he killed the one Lord of Midnight, and he's like, I can't stay in Amontraeth because they're gonna get really mad at me because I killed one of the Lords of Midnight. And so Lorith and Redfish are like, oh my God, she dosed you in front of the entire court, and they're like, he's like, I don't want to talk about it, and they're like, tell us about it, and he's like, what? I was as hard as steel in front of the entire Sanathrothian court. I don't want to talk about this.
I'm glad I'm not a guy.
Yeah,
I mean, girls might like get like a scent, but at least we only get like maybe a scent. Like you don't have like a stone sticking, like even if it's like rounded, you're still pretty screwed. Like you can still be like, oh damn, like
yeah, Kingfisher's just standing in front of the entire court like, I want to rip your clothes off right now.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
And it's not like, it's even worse because they're newly mated, so it's just like boom all over for Kingfisher. And Saris is like, what's happening? And he's like, don't talk to me right now. Like this. He's like, don't talk to me.
I like that you did. Don't talk to me right now.
Don't talk to me right now.
Baby, I got things to do.
But she's like said something into his mind, and he's like, for the love of God, stop talking to me. Like, and so yeah, it gets really complicated, the whole thing. But she drinks, then she's a part of everything. And then he ends up the one guy that starts with an E. I'm forgetting. Again, he gets.
You don't
killed.
come to the show for the correct terminology.
He gets killed in a second. He's very important, but he gets killed in a second because he starts talking about how he's like a cult leader, basically. He's like a religious leader. They worship the under gods, and he's like, we don't like, because they were like, oh, we're gods touched or whatever, and he's like, we don't worship your gods.
Yeah.
And then they go to attack Saris, and then Kingfisher's like, little choppy chop with her.
I love Katie's like a little choppy chop. Hey baby, like she's just all over it today. Jeez Louise.
And he dies. A bunch of high bloods die. And everyone's just kind of staring at him like, we don't let you come in here anyways. And then she makes her first edicts, which are like, when I come around, you're on your knees.
Yeah.
And no one's attacking me or my friends, okay? Like, everyone just shut the fuck up, okay? And she hangs out with Kingfisher for the rest of the night. And Kingfisher's like, I just want to fuck her so bad. and then they don't get to.
I think that was the only part of this freaking book I did not love was like, just want to pound her like all the time. Just pound her, pound her, pound her.
To be fair, he's
like,
high off her venom right now. And he's
I know,
doing
but
his
like
best
the
to hang
whole
on.
book, I feel like it's just like, I just looked at her and I wanted to bang her.
You were getting a little Hunt and Brycey.
I was like, I was just like, yes! Oh my God. Crescent City, here we come. No, I just couldn't do it. I was like, yeah, it was like that when they were like, oh, I don't want to be, we have to wait. Da, da, da. I just, oh my fucking God.
We need to make aimless attention bingo. which is when will Katie and Star bring up Bryce and Hunt wanting to fuck each other?
Bryce and Hunt.
When will Star bring up Fleetfoot? When will Katie talk about Deep End?
Oh my God. Oh, that's too funny. Yeah. I'm like, what other books do we talk about all the time? Hey, we read a lot of books, you guys, so these ones get stuck, obviously.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's kind of her first thing. She gets coronated, and it's like, okay, now we're doing this, and there's like a whole plan they have with Taladeus for her to like kind of get everything set up. She also commands the horde of feeders to not be used for anything as well, and so they're kind of getting their plan set up for her to kind of get Sanathrot set up so she can leave and not be queen anymore, and for it to not be a war between the Fae and the Sanathrothians anymore. And then this is when the rot starts coming through, right?
Yeah, okay. So this is reminding me so much of the guild. Like I was like, are you fucking kidding? What the fuck is this rot thing?
Oh,
and why do I feel like
I think I texted you or I told you at work, I was like, when is Slade Ravager showing
That's
up?
what I was just thinking. I was like, dude, Katie, I was like the whole time that they kept talking about the rot, I was just like,
is this a world
like,
that
is he coming?
Slade Ravager's
I was
looking
like,
for
ooh,
Orin in?
ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
okay, but Slade could come any time of the day. You want to talk about sex scene for Star? Like, just have that boy come in. We'll have a threesome, a thruple on that situation.
Bring up the thruple.
The thruple.
We'll have to also cover Guild next year because the Play to Prisoner
Definitely.
series is so freaking good. But yeah, all I could think of was Slade Ravager. Where are
I
you?
think she
Why
said
are you
next
infecting
year?
this?
I'm pretty sure she means this year. We're gonna.
Well,
get
no, because
Guild.
this is 2025. We're posting this literally next week.
We are posting this
I'm
next
gonna
week.
crank this out in a
Okay.
couple of days.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this is coming out next week, and then we will have next year. Well, probably the end of the year, like the last 6 months of the year. We'll maybe do Play to Prisoner.
That story was good.
It was really good. I need to go back and re-listen to it. But yeah, back to Brimstone. This rot is spreading throughout, and that's when Kingfisher's back in Kalish, and he goes to the campsite in Arin, and they get attacked by these 8 feeders, and they're all moving in tandem together. It's like really weird. They find out that the feeders are absorbing the magic instead of dying from it, and fire doesn't even kill them. So they lose a ton of men to these feeders. They end up having to set them on fire, like hold them apart, and then cut their heads off, and then separate their heads. And their heads and their bodies are still trying to get back to each other, like they're like trying to bite through this bag that they put them in. So that's weird. Like the feeders usually have been able to. They're not they're easier to kill. There's just always a ton of them. But these feeders are nothing like what they've seen before. So he ends up bringing the heads back to Amatreath, and Kingfisher's trying to kick Carrion out of this whole meeting, and Taladeus is there and stuff. And Carrion's like, why can't I stay? And he's like, do you know anything about like killing feeders? Do you know anything about war tactics? Do you know anything? And Carrion's like, no, of course I don't know. And he's like, then you're not needed here. And then I think either Saris or Carrion says, like, I mean, he is like the heir to the throne in Avelia. Like, he kind of probably should be here. And Fisher's finally just like, I think Saris is like, you two shut the fuck up. Stop fighting. Like, let's just leave him here and tell me what's going on. So they look at the heads, and Carrion's like, you guys notice anything weird about these? And they're like, obviously, like, Carrion, you fucking idiot. This is weird.
This is why I love him so much, because he's just like, doesn't even tell them right off the bat. He's like, hey, you guys want to talk shit to me? Like, fuck you. Figure it out yourselves.
And then he's like, look, and that's when Saris notices the mark behind the ear.
Yeah.
And she's like, reaches up and notices it. And then, I think Carrion points it out, and Fisher's like, wait, that's your, what's it, cleansing mark or whatever?
Yeah,
the
like
mark
where they
when
get like their...
they get sterilized.
Yeah.
I think they said 7 out of every 10 girls.
Was it that high?
Yeah, it was like 7 out of
Because
every
I
10.
remember like the scene where they like, oh, maybe that's not the right. Yeah, it isn't.
It is. So
Brimstone.
it's when Carrion and Fisher are in Zilvarin.
Yeah.
And they're fighting the big Madras guard in that big square, and there's 12 girls that are lined up.
That's okay. It was 12. So then yes, you were correct.
Yeah, and
I was
Carrion
thinking
said,
it was only like 10 girls, and I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Carrion said 7 out of every 10 girls gets that happens to there. So Fisher's like, wait, that's your mark. And then Carrion's like, also, they have rounded ears, you guys. These are not Evelian.
Yeah, I thought that one cracked me up. The rounded ears. I was fucking dying. I was like, who doesn't notice that? Like right off the bat. Like
Carrion's staring at it like they're not from Avelia. And they're like, how do you know that? And he's like, they're rounded ears, you guys. He's like, it kind of reminded me, and spoiler, it's not really spoiler alert for Empyrean, but when Riddick's like, just because I joke all the time doesn't mean I'm like not smart.
yes, just because I joke all the time doesn't mean I'm not smart. Katie, God.
Store. And so, but yeah, it just like that. Carrion's just like, you guys are stupid. Just look at these heads. They don't look right.
They didn't. The whole story was just like, are you guys dumb?
And that kind of is the catalyst for we need to go. Well, first of all, Carrion's like, I know where we need to go. And Fisher's like, no. First of all, there's no we. And second of all, no. And he's like, don't you need to keep your promise eventually that you're going to get Saris's brother Hayden?
I can't fucking stand her brother. I just...
He still was useless. He's got to have something big that happens in the next book, because, again, the siblings were useless in this book. Other than Everlane being like a prophet through his, like, that his mom used, basically, or like a body to, like, channel through. That's the only thing.
Yeah, they're I don't know. I'm over here trying to figure out. I'm like, okay, maybe you're right. They're gonna be, but then I was like, also like, sometimes siblings are just useless. Like I was just like, sometimes they're just in your fucking way, and you're like, bitch, move. I don't know. I was trying to think it out. I was like, maybe he becomes useful. I just feel like he's gonna be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we also see
he's a little whiny bitch. But here's the other thing. He was useful to build her character though.
Oh yeah.
Because he does like she does have to explain to him when he's a little whiny bitch, like you made me like be who I am. Like you're just I don't know. I just want to knock his fucking teeth out.
Hayden's
just
really
couldn't stand
frustrating.
him. Yeah.
But before they go to Zulvarin, he takes her back to college because he's like, I just need to spend time with you. We get our really long, like hour-long smut scene. And then Telena is there, and oh my gosh, Ishabel, the witch, is also there, Ishabel. And Telena's like, you should go talk to Everlane. It might be kind of the thing that helps wake her up. Because Everlane's still like fucked up after the whole Thrall thing with Tal and everything happened at Quicksilver. And she is not woken up. And she's like, I don't think I'll be the thing that wakes Lane up, but I'll go talk to her. So she goes, and that is when Kingfisher's mom channels through her and is like telling her about the book that she needs to find and all this stuff. And Kingfisher comes in and she's yelling his mother's name at Everlane. And he's like, why are you yelling my name? Because she didn't know it was Kingfisher's mom at the time. Mm-hmm. And so that's like, okay. And she finds out she needs to find this book and not tell Fisher about it. And so she finds all that out. They end up back at Almond. There's a lot of like hopping back and forth from college and stuff because he's just opening shadow gates. He can't channel a shadow gate. He has to go all the way down to the Darn basically to open a shadow gate for them. To go back and forth to college in Arin because they put it up in Arin.
Yes.
And they can go back to college through there, but they have to like hike out of Amontreath to get to the Darn, cross the Darn to get to the Shadow Gate and stuff. So it's like a whole thing because he can't use his magic very much in Sanus Roth. So we get that whole prophecy thing basically through his mom. And then we also find out that the Lupoprolia members, Lorith specifically, has been looking for one of their own that supposedly turned a long time ago back at Ajun or like before Ajun. And they're looking for Foley. And they're all like, we can't find him. We don't know what's going on. But they need him because Ceres needs to tap into her alchemist power some more and learn more about them. And Foley's grandfather was one of the last alchemists. So Foley knows information about alchemists. And so we actually end up finding Foley, or Ceres does, because he attacks her. This gold tooth vampire attacks her in the library. And she like ties him up and everything. And this is when, I think this is when Kingfisher and Carrion are in Zulvarin at this time. She gets attacked by him and he's like, she obviously took Kingfisher's blade. Like, she did something to him. He would never. And Laura's like, that's her mate, his mate. And she's like, no, it's not. That's not possible. She like did something to make it. She killed him. She did whatever. And he's like, she smells like sex, dude. Like, and she's like, can we stop talking about how I smell like sex all the time, please?
I mean, with the Fae nose, though, like how, like, even if you washed yourself, that shit, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and we find out that Foley has his
I'm
gold
glad that
teeth.
we have no senses.
I know, I don't want to smell it.
No.
But we find out that Foley has his gold teeth because his canines got ripped out when he wouldn't join the Sanus Rothian court. And so he was supposed to die after that because there's no way for him to feed. But he's found ways to like eat rats and kind of live. And he's been living in the library. And they have these little like, if you haven't read When the Moon Hatched, but they're kind of like parchment larks in the When the Moon Hatched.
No, that's like one of my next like to read books.
Yeah. That's because you need to read it because we have Ballad of Falling Dragons coming out next year. But they're like kind of like parchment larks, but they're just little flittering birds that are made out of paper.
That was like the coolest fucking thing. That part of the story, I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, it was cool. And they're flying around and everything. And when she ends up in the library, Al gets there because she's the keeper of records. And she's like, I hate you. You're not allowed to come in here. You can only come in here from this time to this time. And she's like, so in my own court, I can only come to the library for 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening when you're not here. And she's like, that's right. And she's like, whatever. And he's like, and don't take any books I don't let you take. And she's like, whatever. But Alget, when she's like picking through her brain, calls her name breaker. I didn't notice that until I was in the reread doing the audiobook, and I was like, ooh.
I heard you. I heard when you said that, I was like, yes. I was like, I forgot that Katie didn't know that in the beginning.
Yeah, I didn't notice it because, I mean, I think we all had a feeling Kingfisher's name would get revealed in this book.
Oh, yeah, because remember, I was bitching in the beginning. I was texting you, and you didn't catch on because I was texting you.
You were ahead of me in the book because you did the audiobook, and I was sick reading it physically.
Yes, and I was telling you that I was really fucking irritated at their marriage thing. And I remember, and he was like, I'm not getting married because I don't know my name.
Yeah.
And I was like, you little whiny bitch. Like, get fucking married already.
Yeah, because they're in college having this like nice sit down dinner with like their family, basically. Their found family. And they're like, are you going to get married? And then cute little Archer sets his clothes on fire because he gets so excited. And he's just like, you're going to get married and I'm going to plan your wedding. And then Sarah's like, whoa, wait. Is that what the God binding means? Like, I don't know anything about this Fae culture. Like, I just like accepted this because like obviously I want to be with him. But now I'm like, oh no, did I just agree to get married? And I didn't know. But like, I would marry him, I guess. Like, and that's like kind of going through her head. And then Fisher's like, we're not getting married. And she's like, oh my, okay. And then he's like, yeah, it's not happening. We don't need a ceremony, right, Sarah? And she's like, I mean, no. Like, she's like down, like in her personally, yeah. She's like, I don't need it, but like maybe I would like it. I don't know. This is all happening really fast. And then Kingfisher like slams her up against a wall and is like, I want you to know I would marry you.
It just fucking irritated me though. Katie, I didn't understand. I was bitching about this. I was like, what the fuck? And partially it bothered me. Okay, I get it. Who fucking cares? They're mated, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's not a big deal. But it is a weirdly big deal to most people. Yeah. Like, I've met people that were like, we've been together for like 20 years and he doesn't want to marry me, but we're still together. I don't know. It's like a weird, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a piece of paper and a pretty dress. But there's just something about the like cultural, like, I don't know. It really bothered me.
Yeah.
I was like, even just fucking marry her and get it over with. Make sure you do it on paper so
Saris is laughing
Katie
at
can
it.
have it. Like,
I want my on-page marriage. Saris is so funny too because she just starts laughing. She's like, dude, I only have one name. You know my name. It doesn't matter. And he's like, I don't know my name. I was supposed to learn it at 14, but my mom died and she had my name. And she's like, that can be your name then. He's like, that's not how it works in the Fae culture. And she's just like,
I don't know. It really bothered me. It pissed me off.
I think it also bothers you too because she already had her choice taken away of not being able to have children. And which Kingfisher mentions before, he's not mad that she can't have children. She's mad that she had the choice taken away from her.
Haven't we decided that she's got a new body? So
we don't know it. I'm thinking that might be what happens, but we don't know that for sure.
What's going to happen is we're in the middle of Brimstone at the end before the next book comes out. There's going to be a wedding that Katie doesn't know about. We're going to open up. We're going to open up to them being married and her being pregnant. And Katie's going to be like, I will murder the whole world.
Where is my on-page wedding?
Katie's going to blow everybody up if that happens. I'm just letting you know. Anybody that's watching this, tell her.
Okay, I do want
to do this.
I want to give a shout out to our coworker Daniel because I've been alpha reading his newest story and he gave me an on-page wedding. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. I haven't read it yet, but he was talking about it the other day, and he was like, Katie was outraged, and I was like, well, about what? So I'm hoping
it wasn't the on-page wedding. I meant to comment like, thank you for my on-page wedding, but yes, thank you, Daniel, for giving my fucking on-page wedding.
That's too funny.
Anyways, but yeah, so that's their whole thing. That's when we get our marathon sex scene. Is right after that whole thing.
Yeah, I know, but it just really pissed me off because it was like. The whole like, oh no, I can't get married because of my name, and I just like, I remember fucking texting you and being like, where are you in the book?
You're like, they can't get married, and I'm mad.
I just couldn't I was like, where are you? I need to bitch about this.
Also, I think this is gonna be like a 2-hour long podcast.
Oh God,
quite honestly,
right?
We might get our hour and a half, but it's like we're not even like a quarter.
I
of the
know.
way
I
through
was
this
thinking about that. I was like,
There's
shit.
so much to fucking talk about. But yeah, so that's where we get our name breaker note thing that's said about her. And she meets Foley. Lorith is like, this is his mate, and we need you to help us because you knew the alchemist. And he's like, you look like shit and you're exhausted. Have you been sleeping? And she's like, okay, fuck you. Glad I just met you and you're saying this kind of shit. And so he's like, I will help you, but you need to go to sleep. And so she's like, fine. So she leaves, and one of the little, I don't know what they're called in this story now because all I can think of parchment larks in When the Moon Hatched. But the little paper birds come and like cut her on her cheek, and she's like, she found out that like they would, they're really innocent little birds, and they would like steal people's hair if a witch told them to do it. And she was like, oh shit, did he take my hair or my blood? Like, and they're gonna do some like spell on me or whatever. They didn't, but she got out of the library and the bird died, and she's like, okay. And she like picks up the bird and just like puts it in her pocket. She doesn't look at it. This is one of the things I hate in books is when they just like, this is something really important. I'm not gonna look at it. I'm just gonna put it in my pocket.
Well, I don't think she thought it was really
She
important.
didn't,
She
but she
just
didn't
thought like,
open it
oh, I
either.
killed the bird. Like, I feel bad. I'm gonna take
know.
it home. I don't
I
think
guess-
like if you saw an origami, you wouldn't unfold the origami.
Unfold the origami.
Like
I
you
guess
would
that's
just.
true.
I would have done the same thing. It didn't even occur to me. Because she was like, oh, I killed it. Oh, I'll take it home and bury it. Like that's what
Yeah,
I think she was
I guess
thinking.
that's true.
I think that's what she was thinking.
So
She's
meanwhile-
normal, Katie.
So meanwhile, Kingfisher and Carrion are in the third in Sylvarin, and they are trying to go find Hayden. So they have a couple of things that they're trying to do. They get into first of all, they make it to the Quicksilver in Madra's palace into the Hall of Mirrors, and there is just a fucking battalion waiting for them. Right? Madra's been waiting for this Quicksilver to reopen.
Yes.
And so they're just shooting arrows at him and stuff. And Fisher has limited access to his magic, and he's just like, "All right, Carrion, it's gonna get real dark real fast." And then he makes everything dark, and Carrion's freaking the fuck out. And so Carrion's like, they get out of everything. Kingfisher kills everybody, and then he releases the shadows. And Carrion's like squatted down. He's like, it looks like he's taking a shit. He's like squatted down, arms out wide, and his eyes are closed. And he's like, "Why the fuck did you close your eyes?" He's like, "I don't know. It just felt weird being in the dark and not closing my eyes." And he's like, "It made it feel less weird."
I love
And he's like, "All right, whatever." So
I did think that part was funny, but I was thinking, like, what would I do if I was in the dark? Because you're already kind of scared, so you're like, fuck it. Like, I don't know.
yeah, no, I love. It's so fucking funny. So they get out of the Hall of Mirrors, they get out of Madra's palace, and they're in the third. And Kingfisher's disguised them, but they start kind of doing stuff around there. And the first thing they have, so they are going to get Hayden.
Yes.
They need a bunch of silver so they can make relics.
Yes.
And which Carrion is like, "I own a bank." And he's like, "What do you mean? Okay, fine, you own a bank." He's like, "But he has a co-owner."
I kind of like felt like this was super like on spot for him.
It
though.
totally,
like,
everything that happens to Carrion is totally on brand for Carrion.
Yes.
So he's like, "We need to go to a vault breaker because I can't get into it without my buddy because it's 2 keys."
and my buddy thinks I'm like
And
dead
my
or
buddy
like
thinks
whatever.
I'm dead or
like right
hates
because
me
he
or
like
whatever.
vanished for like what like a while.
Yeah, it's
like
been
the
a couple
timeline.
months at
The
least.
timeline. I don't know. Like, does it like
I
less
think it's
time
only-
or more time or?
I think it's only been a couple months, but also, so here's the weird thing about time. So we also know, Carrion's talking about how he's just over like 1,000 something years old. He's like 1,079 years old or something.
Yeah.
Some weird comp. And then they're like, "That's not possible because I was like 10 years old when you disappeared. So
Yeah.
you have to be closer in age than that." And he's like, "No." And then Fisher's like, "No, there must have been something weird when my father took him through the Quicksilver.
That's what I'm
Either the
saying.
gods changed something or the Quicksilver did something, whatever." But Kingfisher's also been passing through the Quicksilver a lot, but he hasn't been going to different realms. He's just been going throughout Avelia, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think. Oh, actually, well, he might have because he did go through the Brimstone too. So
Well, I was thinking like, doesn't like he say something about like his like the gods must have like the gods like
yeah,
came
they
and
said
like,
the gods must have changed the timeline.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to know, why would the gods need to change the timeline and
'Cause of
make
the
him
rot.
a different age? There's got to be something with the rot,
the
right?
rot.
And so yeah, that just kind of like, it's like a weird like flitting moment that you're
Yeah.
just like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was
So-
really like I was trying to figure it out. I was like, wait a minute.
But they're also, we know that Kingfisher passes from Avelia into Sylvarin to get Ceres and come back after when the Quicksilver first opens in Quicksilver. So, and there's not a weird time jump there. So we know it's not like a Quicksilver doing it. Had to have been something external that changed it. So, oh shoot, what were we talking about? Okay, so yeah, they need the silver. We don't know how long he's been gone. It's probably like a couple months at
Yeah,
best.
but I just didn't understand how the time worked because it's like every time they jump or do anything, it's like a different.
It's so Callie Hart's brain is amazing. Like, this is such an in-depth like lore that I'm just like, and it's so unique. Like,
Yes.
I love that it's not like every other retelling of
I
something.
agree.
But they need that, and then they're also trying to figure out where the fuck these vampires are coming from, and so the goals are Kingfisher needs to get. They know they have to go back through the Quicksilver and Madra's palace. They're gonna have to get back there. So he's like, "I'm gonna kill Madra and I'm gonna figure out what that is." And we don't know that that's his plan right away. We just know that they need to figure out some information. So they end up going to Kala's, I think, and they have to go to a bar. And he's like, "Oh yeah, like they have the best whiskey. It's made out of like rat piss or whatever." And he's like, like Kingfisher's like, "I fucking hate
Sounds
this
fine
place."
to me.
And then they're walking through the like markets and stuff, and the streets, and then Carrion's like, "You stick out too much." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're too pale for being in Sylvarin. Like, we have 2 suns. They never go down." And he's like, "I'm not going to use up the last bit of my magic to give myself a tan, Carrion."
I mean,
like,
when you ghost ass white though, like straight howly in the middle of nowhere.
And I would not have fit in Zilvarin. I'm way too pale. They go and meet this like the vault breaker guy at Kala's or whatever. Maybe not Kala's. It's one of the little tavern bar things. And I think they said that he broke a table the last time he was there too.
Yeah,
and
he owed like money or something.
Yeah, Lorith also did too. It kind of like mirrored it because when Lorith and Saris end up at that like feeder bar. And they're like, the last time you were here, you broke shit and you're not supposed to be here and you owe debts. And then he starts getting in a fight with these two other vampires and then Tal has to like come save them. And he's like, I own this bar. Please get the fuck out. And also like, Saris, stop leaving the castle without me knowing about it. This is not safe.
Sounds
And he like forgives his debts and the bartender's like, what the fuck? So that's a whole other like thing. But that's when she kind of tells him more about Ajun Gate and everything. Or he tells her more about Ajun Gate. Anyway, so we're back in Zilvarin, and they meet the Vault Breaker. The Vault Breaker takes them back up to... Well, they chase him down because he runs away from them. And then he's like, okay, I'll take you up
remember why
there.
he ran, though. He ran for a reason.
He didn't want to talk to them because he knew that the other guy definitely like was taking all of the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not getting involved in this. He's like, you already got involved, you idiot. And so he's like, he'll kill me if I like let you in. And so then he like takes them up to that bell tower and he's like, there's no way to get in. He used magic. And then he's like, he has a special key and he moves it to the left. And Carrion's staring at it and he's like, it's not magic, you idiot. It's a magnet. And he's like, what's a magnet? He's like, I'll tell you about it later, whatever. So he like opens the door and then he falls forward and he gets stuck in like a sticky trap. And that's when we meet Joshin, who is the demon, the like scorpion demon.
Yeah.
And also, like, the fact that Kingfisher's mom had, like, taught him how to fight off all the demons, we know we're going to meet more in the next one, right?
So many.
So, because he fought the spider demon in the first one, and then now he had Joshin, who was, like, had a million different stings, and he was, like, the endless dream or the nightmare dream, whatever whatever dream it was, which was just horrible nightmares you would have for the rest of your life after you're, like, stung with his hallucination venom until you eventually never woke up, was kind of like his curse thing that he did.
Yeah.
And he was trapped in this tower, and there was like treasure behind him and stuff, and there was Kingfisher's like, I need the sun. That's how I'll kill Joshin. So he's like trying to like punch out the wall, and Carrion's laying in the sticky trap like, Fisher, there's a bunch of scorpions and they're coming to attack me. And he's like, just hang on. And he's like breaking his hand trying to punch the wall, and he's watching his magic's like multiplying and skittering away. He's like, that's weird. And he realizes that it's a barrier, a magical barrier that's been put around it, a ward. That's the word I'm looking for, ward. But yeah, Kingfisher realizes there's a ward around it. And Joshin's like, you'll never get out. I will keep you in my dream forever. You know, like he's just like being weird. And he's like this creepy little, like, he's like made of a million scorpions and stuff. It's creepy. It's so creepy. And he's like, I can't like conjure Nimmerel here because they were not going to bring their god swords into Zilvarin and let Madra get a hold of god swords. So they're like both like, okay, they left Simon and Nimmerel there, but he can conjure like he can conjure a version of Nimmerel. It's just not like a true Nimmerel. He ends up remembering the rune for break because he's looking at his blood smearing on the wall and he's like, huh. And that's when he gets his mom hallucination. It's like, you're worthless. What are you doing bleeding everywhere, you piece of shit? Like
exactly how I talk to my child.
If the hallucination,
I was dying. I was like, my child's over here like, this is my mom talking to me. If I would have been like, you're so amazing, you're a great son, he'd be like, I'm hallucinating.
It's like the worst version of hallucination though, because like Fisher's mom was never like that.
That's what I'm saying.
So like,
if I was nice to my son, he'd be like, I believe this is wrong.
Like, this is wrong. And Fisher just kept looking over like, shut up, I'm gonna keep doing this. And then he remembers the rune for break, so he like draws that out, and runes become a big deal in this book.
Again, back to Tog.
Literally, oh my god,
we got Guild and Tog blending together.
So okay, this is a spoiler. You like how I look at the camera and I'm like, I'm gonna give a spoiler alert. If you haven't read Crown Tide for the most recent Lightlark book, just like turn off your brain for a second. In the book, they have a new word called World Key.
Oh, God.
And I was like, damn it. All I can hear is word key. Why did you not name it something different? I love these books, by the way. I love
And
Crown
Katie
Tide,
wonders why I'm like, lazy writing.
I'm like, world key, word key, world key, word key. That's all I kept hearing. Anyways,
Yep.
if you haven't read Lightlark, read it. It's a fantastic series.
One of these days, we're going to get through a whole podcast and
get
not
through a whole
talk shit
podcast
about another book.
Without a big 3 hours of us talking about other books except for the book. Anyways, he breaks it with the rune. The light comes flooding in. He's still beating the wall to shit with his broken hand, by the way. Like, good for you, Fisher, I guess. He's like, I've dealt with pain forever. I can deal with more pain.
I know. I thought that was kind of interesting. But, I mean, no pain, no gain, as
Yeah.
they used to say in the 90s.
But when he breaks that ward, it also frees Joshin. So his little scorpion starts skittering away, right? And he's like, no, I need you. So he, like, before he can, like, stop being a face, he talks him into a bargain where he's like, I will release you. You will be free. But you have to help me get an anti-venom to this, right? And, like, give me a secret or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think he talks about the trade or something like that in the... Did I write down what the secret was? I think I was like, I'll remember what this is.
I don't remember what it was. I do remember it, though. And I do remember thinking, like, how scantless he was for always, like,
I don't remember what the
being able
secret
to, you know, give, like, riddles within a riddle.
Yeah.
It's what I was thinking. Like, you know how, like, he's like, let me tell you the truth without telling you the
Like
truth.
a full Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah. Because he ends up, like, trapping him in a box or something.
Yeah, so
right?
Kingfisher takes one of his scorpions and puts it in a box. And he's like, I'll never be able to be free if you do that. And he's like, I never said when I'd free you.
That's what I mean, though. Like, it's like the way he words it.
Yeah.
Like, I would die in that
The
situation.
fucking Fae bargains
I would be
are
like,
insane.
I'm screwed.
But yeah, Joshin gives him a secret, and it pretty much just like details how. I think it's kind of about the ending of the book. It just kind of foretells what we're gonna see later.
Yeah, but you don't realize that in the.
But so he takes him and he's like, you willingly need my venom to make an anti-venom. And he's like, okay, give me your venom willingly. And then he's like, fine. So they make the bargain. They escape. They go back to the like little Vault Breakers like hideout thing where he had like a bunch of random shit. And they start trying to make an anti-venom. And they're both just hallucinating the fuck. And he gets his mom coming back, and that's when he gets Morel coming back. And we already talked about how she was like, am I still beautiful? And her face is like half scorched and everything. And he's like, you're always beautiful. And then Carrion's like, no, she's sick. She needs this. She needs this. And we don't know at the time, but, and I didn't have you read the Carrion bonus chapter in this book, but Carrion makes a comment later after they get the whole anti-venom thing done and they go back to Carrion's apartment. Fisher finally breaks down. He's like, just ask me what you want to ask me. And Fisher's like, are you in love with her? And he's like, no, yes, like it's complicated because she's amazing, but like I fell in love with a human once and I've never been able to get over it. He's like, grief is supposed to get easier as you go on and it only gets worse every year that I live. And we get Carrion's POV of what happened when he was in Zilvarin. And he ended up falling in love with a human, but she had like it was like the allergy to the sun type sickness. And she was dying.
A shitty thing to happen to place her two sons.
Yeah. But the current Swift that was his sister at the time was like, don't go after her. Like she's got enough shit going on. And he's like, and they end up kind of bonding over the fact that he's Carrion and he's really blunt and just says whatever he wants. And she's like, I just love that someone's talking to me like I'm not sick.
Yes.
And she's like, just promise you won't fall in love with me. And they just keep spending more and more time with her. And then obviously he falls in love with her.
How are you not going to fall in love with somebody if you're just going to like, I mean, I'm sorry.
But my thought is because we have no, she's sick, she needs this. I think he was hallucinating. She was there too.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That's what, I mean, when you told me that, that's what I figured it was. And I figured that it was some kind of human female that he fell in love with. I just didn't.
Yeah. So.
No, like.
And
but I think anybody he met would have been human, right? Like.
Yeah, they would have all been human because he was the only Fae in Zilvarin.
Yeah.
And I really like that Fisher, he finds out that that Saris used to carve glass or like etch glass, and it was like these horrible images of like Madra's palace burning down or like shit. And he was like, Elroy couldn't sell any of this because it was like crazy shit she was putting on there, and like she would have been killed basically if they were found. And Carrion's like, I just kept taking the glassware off of his hands. And so Fisher kind of gets a like, oh, you were looking out for her. and you did like her. And
I don't think he loved her though. He just,
well, he says he does love her.
She was,
and if he hadn't had that really like, if he hadn't loved the other human so much, he probably would have fallen in love with Saris.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, Carrion says that. He's like, I do love her.
I
love her
I know,
so much,
like,
but she's not. He's like, I can't open my heart to that anymore. And I think out of all of the people he was around, Saris would have been the person he fell in love with if he hadn't had that experience where it just broke him so much.
I guess so. I guess I just like always just assumed it was more of like a, I guess I don't want to call it brother sister because that's some redneck shit, but I don't know.
Oh, here's the other thing. Going back to that dinner in college that I just remembered, Carrion he's like, I'm going to go visit the water sprites is what he told Saris. And she's like, we're just going to start dinner because like who knows how fucking long he's going to end up with the water sprites down there. And Daniel's like, so where's Carrion? And she's like, not you. We're not fucking doing this. You and Carrion are not happening. And she's like, I don't want to like be with him. I just want to like be with him, you know? Like, and she's like, I'm not fucking talking with you and Carrion. And then
this
they
is
kind of
what
like
Katie
start
tells
flirting.
me every time I talk about certain people at work. She's like, not that. No.
Dania and Carrion would be an explosion.
I'm telling you, it would be fun. See, people don't understand. The explosion would be fun.
So yeah, Dania and Carrion are like kind of flirting, and she's just shaking her head like, I don't want to fucking deal with this shit whenever this blows up. I still want Carrion and Everlane. If Everlane ever wakes the fuck up to end up together, I think that would be a funny thing for Fisher. But also Fisher's now warming up to Carrion. But I also don't want to see Dania like get smoothed over either.
Me either. I wonder who. I don't know.
Oh, another thing that happens at this dinner is that Saris is like, oh, what's up with the new hairdo, Dania? And she's like, I got fucking set on fire. And she's just like, oh, I just thought you were going for like an edgy thing. And she's like, a warrior's hair is long for their battle, like for how long they've been in battle. It's a
I do
symbol
remember
of
that,
pride.
and but when she first was talking about it, I was like, ooh, that's a cute haircut. And then when I heard her words, I was like, ooh.
Saris is like, I need to stop fucking talking to this bitch.
But
Every time I do, it's bad.
Yeah, I did think it would be cute to like have like a, like a spicy, different kind of cut. Like, thought it would be cute.
Yeah, I'm sure it looked fine on Dania, but Dania was pissed.
Yeah, because doesn't it like however many years or something?
Yeah, your hair.
Like,
You don't cut your hair because of the number, the length of your hair is like. Yeah, that's why like Ren and Lorith have like their long hair too or whatever. But anyways, that all happens. They're in back to Carrion and Fisher and Zavar. They end up having to run from Madra's guard and everything. They get all the silver they need. And they're running from Madra's guard, and the Quicksilver in Kingfisher's eye is like, go this way. And he's like, that's right back to the guard. And they're like, go this way. You need to come this way. And
I like the Quicksilver.
And it's one voice now because Talena and Ishabal have been able to kind of like take it out of him slowly, but they can't get all of it. So it's like down to one voice. It's not driving him as insane as it was. We also know that the Quicksilver reacts a lot when Saris is around. It'll like spin around in his eye a lot when she's there because it's reacting to her presence. And she also has she's realizing it's not just Quicksilver she's reacting with. It's every type of metal as she's growing her alchemist powers. But they're fighting off the guard. That's when he sees the lineup for the girls that are going to be sterilized. And he sees the first girl in the front is like staring up at the guy and like spitting in his face and stuff. And he's like, that's what Saris would have been like. And that's when he's like, everyone's going to fucking die. So he like kills everybody in the square. And then they end up in Elroy's shop. And Elroy smacks Kingfisher on the top of the head with a fire poker.
Yes.
And okay, before this, there's so much shit in this book.
There's so much shit.
Before this, Blades flies at them in the crowd, and Kingfisher pulls Carrion back, and the blade like lodges in the back of the wall, and that's when Hayden shows up. And Carrion's like, what the fuck, dude? You almost cut off my nipples. And he's like, I wasn't aiming for you. I was aiming for him. And Fisher's like, okay. So then we find out that there's flyers all over the place that are a drawing of Fisher.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it says Kingfisher, the Ajum Gate, wanted for like all these crimes and stuff. And he's like, he killed Saris. And he's like, I can tell you I did not kill Saris. And Carrion's like, he didn't kill Saris. And he's like, her body was dragged. I saw the drawings. And then Fisher's like, you're telling me this woman who has lied to you for years, who is horrible to you, who only gives you 6 ounces of water a day, told you through a drawing that your sister died, and you're like, yeah, my sister died. Like, he's like, you're a fucking idiot. And
everything he does just makes you want to fucking shoot him, like, just take him outside.
But they were promising a year's worth of water rations to the family that could catch Kingfisher. So that's what's on the poster. So and Carrie's like, that's why everyone's staring at you. And that's when the whole magic thing happens. And then they end up in Elroy's shop. Elroy hits Fisher over the head with a fire poker. And he's like, I'm getting such a bad headache. Like, what the fuck was it? And then he's like, you only got tapped on the back or whatever. And he's like, that was not a tap on the back, Carrion. Like, what the fuck? This was one of the moments that was a little bit less believable to me. But Elroy's just like, yeah, we know about the Fae. We knew Carrion was Fae. It was just out of nowhere. I was like...
But I kind of, I had the same thought, but then it makes sense why he protected, like, Saris and stuff. And, like, I feel like... Plus, if he was friends with the lady that took care of him, like, how many times did they... Like, there was multiple people that he lived through.
They said all of Elroy's family line knew about it, along with the Swifts. Because he's like, the Swifts were not the only people that knew that Carrion was here.
It weird, but it didn't at the same time.
Yeah, and Carrion's like, well, it would have been nice for someone to fucking tell me that everyone knew I was Fae.
Why? So you could turn Fae? Like, nobody was going to, like, shut the fuck up,
because
Carrion.
I think Fisher mentions that he the glamour on them is gone because he doesn't have the magic to like hold on to that anymore. Yeah. And he's like, he's not reacting to the fact that Carrion is a full fucking Fae in front of him right now. And that's when Elroy kind of tells the story. And then that's when the Quicksilver's like, come this way, Fisher, come this way. And he's like, whatever. So he like follows it and he's like, there's a fucking pool of Quicksilver here. And so they're like, well, this solves our problem. And he's like, great, you two are going to go through that, and I'm going to go back to Madra's palace because I need to fucking kill Madra. And at the same time, this is when Saris was called down to the Quicksilver because she's working with Foley to try to like learn how to work with the Quicksilver. The Hazrak shows up while she's trying to do this, and he's like, are you going to keep giving it blood and memories and everything it asks you for every time?
That thing was creepy, by the way. You didn't describe the fucking description of that thing.
The Hazrax is like he's super tall. He has like translucent skin. He has like multiple rows of really sharp teeth and completely blacked out eyes, really thin lips, and he's the keeper of silence.
I know, but he talks fucking a lot.
He does, and he does. Well, that's what Sarah says too. She's like, you talk all the fucking time for someone who's silent.
But that like literally was my thought when she said it. I was like, duh. Like I was like, this doesn't make like shut the fuck up.
So the Hazrax is an ancient being. He's like the last of his kind, and he showed up to Malcolm's court one time and was like, I want to watch you. And he was like, okay. And so Malcolm struck a deal that he could watch him, and then every year, if it was in the Hazrax's power, he would get a favor from him. And so the Hazrax is not a part of the court. He's just there. But he's still a Lord of Midnight, which is strange.
I know. But there's going to be some significance to this later. Yeah, I know there is.
There will be. And so the Hazrax is like, hey, Saris, I want to make a deal. And she's like, okay. And then he starts like talking to her, and he's like, I think we need to have, he's like, well, you're supposed to like have a conversation and like get to know each other before you like start making deals. And she's like, this isn't like normal conversation. No. You're the fucking Hazrax. And so she's like, can you just leave me alone? And he's like, okay, but I want to make the deal. I'm not leaving unless we make the deal. And so she makes the deal with him that he can watch her as long as she gets a favor. And also every year she can decide whether or not she wants to renew the favor or the bargain. And he's like, that's fair, I guess. And so, but he shows up and he's like, are you just going to like bleed yourself dry for this? Are you just going to give it everything it wants? And she's just like, can you kindly fuck off? Like, I'm stressed out enough about the fact that I have to make thousands of relics.
Not wrong, though, because like it's like a joke and it's like blood and tell it a story.
Yeah,
like,
it's always wants
no,
something.
it was a secret.
It was, yeah, she wants, so during this one, he needed a memory.
A memory.
And he's like, and she's like, I don't even know what it took. And he's like, yeah. You just gave it a memory. Like, what did you think?
It was just like, bloop.
And so she's just like, and he's kind of telling her all this stuff, and she's like, can you go away? Like, I don't want, and that her
helping
runes,
her.
She has the alchemical runes that have been burning into her skin at this point, and she needs to, according to Fisher's mom, she has to seal her runes in order to make it happen. So she has this, they keep calling it her shield, is her, like, her Quicksilver rune or whatever. And she ends up blowing a hole in the wall in the library, and that's again when we meet Foley and stuff, and that's when Lorith like dangles him out of the side and is like, stop fucking saying you're gonna kill Saris. And he's like, you're the one dangling me out a window, you fucking crazy person. And Anyways, that's all like back in time again. He's like, yeah. But the Hazrax makes the deal, and then he like floats off again, and he has like these long white billowing robes.
I know, which is like weird, right? Like I just feel like I don't know. He was just creepy.
He was creepy,
and, like his teeth and everything. I don't know. Every time we talked to her, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah, he was so creepy, and
I just pictured like Wade.
Yes, and she gets that encounter with the Hazrax, and then she ends up going. The Quicksilver's like, come this way, and so she's like, I guess I have to like, because the book's talking about how she needs to like seal herself and like form a partnership with it, and like how she has to learn to control it and all this kind of stuff, because they're like, you can't just keep forcing it. It has to like work with you, and it can't be like a constant, like you give it something to make it work, right?
Yes.
So she goes down into the bowels of Amontreath, and she finds a Quicksilver pool, and she's like, well, I didn't know this was here. And then she ends up activating it. She like ends up in the pool, and the Quicksilver like goes down her mouth and her throat, or I mean not her nose, and like all this stuff, and like envelops her. And that's when she seals it, and she makes the first rune, which is the circle with the slash through it, the arrow through it. And then Belacon's like not second in command, but his little like little buddy comes through with like a couple Fae warriors to kill her. Or to get her to come back to Bellicon to be his alchemist.
Yes.
And that is when Kingfisher and all those guys are in the next to the Quicksilver in Zilvarin too, and they're like, why is it bubbling and like doing all the shit that Quicksilver doesn't do? It usually just like wakes up, and then it's like it's liquid, and then people can go through it, but it's like shooting like crazy. It's reacting all wild. And so in Amontreath, she's fighting off these things, and then she takes Solace, and Solace is too big, and she keeps talking about how she needs to reforge it into something else because it's just way too big for her to wield. And then because she's now sealed her wounds and she's like become one with the Quicksilver, she just separates Solace.
I was
into
gonna say,
blades.
isn't that when she like? I thought she broke it, but I guess separates it.
She just like makes it into two blades,
yeah.
Which is super cool. And she like fights with two blades and stuff, and that's when good old Kingfisher comes through the Quicksilver again. And same with Hayden and Carrion. And Carrion's just like huddling Hayden in the corner, like, stay the fuck away from this whole thing. Like, let them do it. And Fisher comes in and he's like, you need help? She's like, I got it. And he's like, okay. So he like sits back and watches.
Which again goes back
helps
to the
out
whole
when he needs.
thing.
It totally was a bit Rhys-Sandy. It's like, okay. Because yeah, just Fisher not stepping in like that. But I think he recognized in that moment Saris needed to do it. But it was like, again, it was a little Rhys-Sandy, because Kingfisher would have just like, what?
I know. And like part of me is like, I guess I get like she needed to kind of learn it, but at the same time, like the girl in me is like, fight for me, bitches. Like, I don't know. Like, I have a real like savior issue. Like, where's my savior?
But again, Saris is also very like, I have stood up for myself for a lot of years. I don't need you to be an
every
overbearing
once
male.
in a while, don't you want like a little, like, that's why I said I have a little savior.
For me, I'd be like, fight all my battles, please. I'm gonna sit over here. I want to be a princess in a tower.
Maybe that was why he was like, you must fight your own battles.
It's like, I love these badass FMCs, but I'm just like, not me. I'm like Everlane. I'm like, I just died over here. I'm gonna sit in a coma for the rest of the book.
I want like a little bit of both. Like, I want to know I can do it, but I want you to do it for me.
Listen, I wish I was Saris. I wish I was as funny and like smart and like good at fighting as she was, but I'm not.
I mean, I could throw down, but I don't want to. Like, I think that was a conversation I was having with a friend the other day. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you want to do it. Like, I want like somebody else to step in and be like, I got this. Sit down, baby. Let me take care of that.
Have you ever seen? Well, you don't. Do you watch movies? Have you watched Bottoms?
No.
Okay, it's a newer. It came out like a couple years ago. It's just like one of those like stupid comedy movies that they used to make in like the early 2000s that were just like really gross and like funny. But it's these two girls who are like in love with these other girls at their school, and they're trying to like find a way to like be around them, like forced proximity type thing. And they end up starting a fight club at school.
Oh my god!
And just like, I don't know, it just reminded me of that.
It's just, no.
But anyway. So yes, Quicksilver opens. They're now back together. She sealed her rune. And she's learning from Foley, and she ends up figuring out she's like, I need to get the book. Bellicon kidnaps Fisher. There's a bunch of shit that happens. Talladega says like, I need to cut off our like thing. Oh my god. Okay.
I've been waiting.
So
I'm hoping this is the part where she brings it up, but I don't know.
Tal says we have to have a ceremony to cut our bond because everyone thinks I'm puppeteering you, and she's like, great, I don't want to be connected to you. It's freaking me out. So he's like, okay, I just want to make sure you weren't like upset about it. And she's like, fucking cut me off, man. I don't want this.
So no clue what the fuck that entails.
Yeah. So he's like, there has to be like a whole thing. So then they go to have a ceremony and everyone's drinking this wine, and the people who are the Fae that are serving it are like dropping drops of their blood into it. And then they start drinking it, and after a certain amount of time, a bunch of them start dying. And then they're like, what's going on? And Sarah didn't drink any of it. I think Taladis told her not to drink it or something, or Fisher did, something like that. And we find out that Ishabal and her witch coven have been trying to kill the Sanathrothian court for a long time. And so they worked with Taladeus to get all of this out here so that they're all turning not vampire anymore. Their curse is getting reversed. And now the only way that they're going to survive is if they take the antidote to it, which will turn them just back to Fae and not being vampires anymore. So their choice is just die or turn back to Fae. And so a bunch of them are doing that. And Tal's like, let me die. And she's like, fuck no. And so they force feed him the vial of it. And that whole thing was fucking insane.
Wasn't it, though?
And basically most of the Sanathrothian court's just gone now. And we end up, Fisher gets kidnapped by Belicon. And we get all of these times where when they're separated, when they're in Zilvarin or he's in Kalish or wherever else, where they have these sex dreams. Mm-hmm. Or just dreams where they're at this cabin together and that's where they meet up. And we end up in her dream state again, but she's awake and she can't find Fisher, and he's sitting in this fireplace in Kalish, and Kalish is like, oh my god, there's so much fucking shit to talk about in this book. We find out that they're at the forge in Kalish, and they get attacked by the rot, by a feeder that's full of rot.
Yes.
And that's when Archer gets attacked, and the feeder rips out his neck, and turns out the fire sprites, their blood is brimstone, and the brimstone kills the feeder. And then they take a little bit of the brimstone they found and they put it on the rot that's out there, Lorith and Renfist. Or I think it's Lorith because Renfist has been missing for a while, and Ren's been missing too. So much fucking shit. And so yeah, they notice that the brimstone kills the rot, and so then Daniel's like, we need to use the fire sprites to kill the rot, and he's like, Kingfisher's like, absolutely not, because we find out that the brimstone is a finite resource, and the fire sprites have the pyre down below that they live in that keeps everything hot where they live. And in order to revive Archer, each of them have to donate some of their brimstone because they don't have a way. It's not like blood that they can just keep making more of or anything like that. Or so it's a finite resource. They would have to kill all of the fire sprites to extract their brimstone, and it might not even be enough then. So Fisher's like, that's not a viable option. And then Lorith is like, there's another option, Fisher. And he's like, we're not doing that. And she doesn't know what that option is. They end up, when they're going to protect the town that Fisher had taken her to with the townhouse, Lorith tells her what the other option is, which is, we find out later, is to go to the Ajun Gate and go through the brimstone.
Yes.
Shoot, where was I going with this? Like I said, there's so much in this book that I'm just like,
I don't know where Katie's going with it.
Yeah, so Taladeus is in a coma, and they revived him, and he's like, I didn't want to be revived, I wanted to die finally. And that's when Fisher, stuff happens. Fisher gets kidnapped, basically. I can't keep track of everything that's going on in this book.
It's just a lot. I wasn't sure if you were just gonna take it to the end and be like, okay,
we're going. It's just, but the brimstone's really important because they realize that's the way to kill the rot.
I wasn't sure if you were gonna go to the.
Like I said, I'm just remembering all of this random shit that happens in this book, and they do revive Archer. Archer's still alive, so yes. Thank you, Archer's still alive. Okay, we're back to Kingfisher is kidnapped by Belicon. And she goes there. So Kalish is taken over by the rot, and she's in this dream state thing. She's been visited by the Hazraks a couple of times at this point. And she ends up at Fisher's. He's sitting in front of a fireplace and just staring, and she can't get a hold of him. And then,
for some reason, I thought he was cutting wood.
No, he cuts wood in the dream the first time they have sex.
Oh, okay. I'm on the wrong spot.
I totally spaced. Okay, back. Sarah figures out that the book that she needs to get are all of those parchment larks.
Yes.
Whatever they're fucking called in this book. They're not parchment larks. The birds. So she gets all the birds and she puts it together and she reads it. And the first thing says, or she's like, don't show this to Fisher or whatever. She knows that. And he's like, she was told that. And then she's like, I I can't not show you this. This is something your mom wrote. Like, I can't deny you this. So she gives it to Fisher. Fisher reads the first page, and it's like a letter to him that's like, I love you. I knew she would give it to you. I really hope she would. Now give it back to her because it's for her. And so he's like, okay. And so he gives it back to her, and she's like, oh, good. That was what I was supposed to do. And the book is instructions on how to make sure, because she's seen multiple paths, and the only way that everything works out is if she follows the rules and she doesn't read ahead. And so she starts doing all the different things throughout. And when Fisher gets caught, the Hazrax is gives her a hint as to where he needs something, that there's something that she needs to get. And she'd look through the book and everything. And she picks up the Kingfisher figure.
I was wondering.
Archer had been kind of messing with it, and somebody had one of the other
ones,
sprites,
and Archer flipped out.
He's like, don't touch that. That was the Kingfisher's mom's. The lady Collis's blah, blah, blah. Don't touch it. We can't break it. And he's like, okay, I'm so sorry. And she's like, it's fine. I'm not worried about it. And Archer's like, no, we can't touch it.
I fucking love Archer.
I love Archer. And he ends up, she picks it up, and on the back of it is Kingfisher's real name.
Yeah.
And so, there's a piece of paper that says Kingfisher's real name. There's also when she's talking to the Hazrax, they make a deal, a little trade deal thing, and he gives her that time, and he also gives her the rune of the Hazrax rune, which is it was to break or whatever. It was something. Anyways,
again with the shit started.
She uses it to break Kingfisher's oath.
I know, but I don't remember what the hell it was that he gave her. I know what you're talking about, but names and shit in these books are I can't remember my own goddamn name, and then they come up with wild shit that I'm like, sure.
So the Hazrax gives her the rune at this point, and I thought, so the last entry she had read in the book was proceed after the trade. And I thought that was the trade, was the Hazrax giving her the rune and all of this conversation, but it's not. So we end up, she goes into the forest, and she finds Kingfisher is in a tree. And the tree's devouring him, and he can't move. Nimrel's in the ground, and Belicon's trapped him there.
Is this after he meets the king with the big fucking dragon head, or the whatever it was?
The king who had the dragon head was Belicon in the first book.
Yes, but don't they run into him, and isn't that why the tree is?
Belicon shows up, yeah. So Belicon shows up when she's there, and he's like, "You can't get him out," blah blah blah, and then she ends up getting him out of the tree, and she wakes him up with his real name, which is Kaiden Greystar Vinsara.
To didn't love.
I don't mind Kaiden, but they say Kaidan in the book, in the audiobook, but Kaiden I don't mind.
It wasn't horrible. It was just lazy writing.
I don't think it was.
You give him all this great shit, and then you just give him. I was like, what the fuck kind of name is that?
I don't think
it better
Kaiden
have some fucking special meaning that I haven't figured out.
I'm sure
yet.
it does, but I think Kaiden was fine. One of the critiques I saw people saying online was they don't like that she immediately started calling him that name, and immediately was here's a nickname,
because she did come the fuck on. You're. If you gave me a new name, it would take me a minute.
It would take a while, and and she immediately has a nickname for him too.
I know.
She calls him Kaiden a few times, and it's immediately Kai. I like Kai as a nickname.
I didn't hate Kai, but I'm just saying that how quickly she does it. The criticism was right. I'm sorry, it was too fast. She was like, I have to use it, and it's yeah, but I don't know. I guess if you gave me a nickname, it wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
It would be something I would try, but it wouldn't be there would be slip ups, I guess.
Yeah. And
you'd be Fisher, King. I don't know. It just feel
yeah. They
or there'd be a stutter.
Something. I think she says Kingfisher one time where she kind of stumbles over it, and then she just Kaiden.
Yeah, because she goes, I have to call him this for him to get used to his name or some shit like that. I don't know. It was the way she. I'm telling you, there was just too much of the fucking weakness that you were just what the fuck is wrong with these people? It did change their personalities, changed way too much for me. Because when she goes, oh my God, I have to call him this.
Her whole fight with Belicon, though, was amazing.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying their weird emotional thing that she was trying to was too.
I think part of it is in terms of so Rhysand in Akatar also kind of keeps some secrets from Feyre throughout, and I think we have a pretty big major thing we're going to get to in a little bit in Brimstone, that they have to build up so much that they get to a point where they just trust each other for anything. Like, you can keep the biggest secret from me and I still trust that you kept it on purpose for a reason. And I think that's why Feyre and Rhysand's relationship works that way, is because they're both like, I have so much faith in you. I understand why you would do something like this. Same with Rowan and Aelin, honestly.
I mean, I get it. I mean, yeah.
So
there are relationships that can be like that.
But I think that's why they get built up like this, because now they rely on each other so much that they're like, I would go into battle completely with a blindfold on and I would trust you would get me through it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why they get like built up like this. But the whole fight with Bellicon was crazy. Like, it was so like it was very Aelin coded. Like, it was very like, I've sat 15 steps ahead and I know how this goes. There were a few times where things don't go the way she thinks it's gonna go. But her big point is Nimmerell is made of iron. You can't, like, it's got iron in the handle or whatever. That's why Nimmerell is such a crazy god sword.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be able to wield it, and she knows Bellicon won't be able to wield it either.
Yeah.
Beyond the fact that it's a god sword, and god swords don't like when you take it from their person. And so that whole thing was crazy. They get out of there, and they're, like, rushing to the Ajun Gate, and that's when Onyx is there as well, and Onyx dies.
The fucking part. I swear to God, I almost started crying.
I did too. I was like, you can't kill Onyx.
If you've met me crying is a big fucking deal. I almost cried. I was like hardcore, like, what the fuck? I knew something was gonna happen, but I was like,
you can't. We can't have gone through all of this shit.
No, because that little fucking tongue hanging out, fucking little like, no.
His little cracked and bleeding paws and everything,
you just couldn't like.
And that's when the Hazrak shows up again. And she's like, I bet I could heal him. And he's like,
I want to know why he kept showing up though. Like, what the fuck? Like, he never leaves. I bet.
Well,
I bet his white like features let him sink into the background and almost become translucent, and he can like bring like a little color back to himself to be seen. That's got to be it, dude. Like, why else would he be watching you?
Yeah, he's got to be there all the time.
Always watching.
And he's like confused, like why she would want to save the fox and everything. And he's like, you're gonna break your rune. Like, you're gonna waste it on this fox. And she's like, Onyx is worth it. Like, I will do whatever I need to make sure Onyx is alive. So she uses all of that up. She doesn't have the Hazrax rune anymore. It's gone. And that's the only time the Hazrax rune glows too, because the Hazrax rune is not tied to magic. It's like a gift from him. So it's like, it's very confusing. But she like channels her magic into it, and then it kind of breaks the room, but she's able to bring him back.
I was like, yes.
And then they run up the snowy hill. They're trying to escape Bellicon's forces at this point.
Yeah.
And that's how they end up at the big skeleton of a dragon leading up to the Iron Gate, which is Al-Shakrai's skeleton, and that Fisher killed. And then they get into the Iron Gate that
Which you
Fisher
wouldn't
had
know
closed.
that, like, even though they tell you in the book, but you know more of it when the POV of Kingfisher.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much in this, like, you get like a glimpse of it. You're like, 2 seconds. But in the POV, you're like, holy shit, that happened and this is not. And like, no.
Yeah. And Lorith had told Cerys, because Fisher had said, don't tell her. And he's like, I'm going to tell you because we don't know where Fisher is. And you need to know this. We need to go to the Ajun Gate.
Yes.
And so that's where they end up. And she's kind of like seeing all the, because Renfis of the Golden Spire is there. He had been missing for a while, and it's because they have guards who stand around the Brimstone.
Yes.
To fight off the monsters that come through the Brimstone. And he got called into service. And so it's kind of like the same kind of oath that they took to Bellicon. He ended up accidentally taking that oath, kind of got like put on him because of his battle and everything.
Yes.
And so he's now tied to the Ajun Gate, just like Fisher was originally tied to Bellicon. But because Cerys broke his oath, by the time he was he's like, I can use his name now against him. And he's like, no, you can't, because the oath is broken. Like, it doesn't matter that you know his name because, like, it's gone.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Fisher's no longer tied to Bellicon in that way. They go through the Brimstone, which is where we find out the name, because she's like, this isn't a pool of Quicksilver, like, it's something else.
Yeah.
And they end up in a like dark, like really hot cave, and a dragon shows up and is like, you killed my son.
I know. I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Which again, if you didn't know that Shakrai was such a big deal in the Kingfisher chapters, it doesn't make as much sense. You get talked about how he slayed a dragon at the Ajun Gate. We get the whole song of Lorith singing it in Quicksilver, but I think you really get that like full like, oh my God, this is Shakrai's mom. Like, this is insane.
Right.
They're going to kill Kingfisher. One of the first things Fisher says to her to Sarah says, don't talk.
I know. I thought that was interesting, but I also kind of grasped it. But like, it was just interesting to like be like, just.
Yeah, he's like, don't talk. Hey, I think the dragon's like ruffling through her mind too. Like, there's a lot of times where they're like
way too many. Like, she needs to learn how to block that shit.
She does.
She just, what do they call it? Like,
put your wall up or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they fight the dragon off, and then they end up getting kidnapped, and they're like strung up around.
Yeah.
And there's like all these people walking around, and then they get dropped to the floor. And two people start like hoisting up Sarah's, and then they both die, or one of them dies, and then the other one, he uses Nimrel to chop her arm off, and she's just laying there holding onto the stump, like trying not to say anything. And Sarah's is like, she's not even like wailing in pain or anything. She's just got her mouth shut, like looking like she's trying not to do anything and make any noise. And that's when Grave and the other guy show up, and they're like, we're gonna kill her, and we're gonna put her in our harem, and we're gonna breed her until she dies, and you can't do anything, and blah blah blah. And then Fisher uses his shadows, obviously, because he's like newly mated, and he's just like boom, like, and they're like, only half gods can wield shadows. And he's like, and that's when, and Sarah's just sitting there like, what the fuck's going on, Fisher? And Fisher's like making all these quippy comments. She's like, you told me to shut up?
Yeah, but he was like, I mean, I'm not going to lie, dude. Even I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. And Sarah's is like, what's going on, Fisher? And he's like, do you trust me? And she's like, with my life. Like, I trust you for everything. And he's like, okay, there were things I couldn't tell you.
I mean,
because they were going to go through your mind, especially Alget, who knew a lot of things.
All of that shit.
And so he's like, Alget would have gone through your mind. Like, things would have been bad if I hadn't. Like, there were things I couldn't tell you. And he said, he turns back to the guys, and they're like, it's not possible. You can't wield shadows. And he said, I need a dragon. And it's like, wait, you need a dragon? And then he said, I've come to make a trade with our father.
I fucking died. I was like, what is fucking happening?
And that's the end of it.
I know. I was like, I literally called Katie like, this is fucking crazy. Dude. But like the way he was talking to them, I was like, something, he knows them.
Yeah, it was
familiar. Like, this is definitely, you don't talk to somebody like that. I mean, I do. But most people don't talk to people like that they don't know. Yeah. So I was like, so fucking confused. And he was quipping it like it was his fucking siblings. Like he was like, you're gonna get started with me, I'm gonna get started with you.
I was confused though that his siblings didn't recognize him. So he's either I'm wondering if his Fae form is not like his fully true form, and he's got like, he looks differently down here, or like I don't know, but it's weird. Or if he just has so many brothers and stuff. Like his father's got to be a god, right? So he's a half god. He wields shadows.
Or they just never fucking met him.
Well, but when
he says
so many
our
questions.
dad, like, I mean,
he says,
like,
yeah, our father.
I mean, like, but if one of my siblings was like said that I would be fucking weirded out, like if we didn't know each other, like, and they didn't strike me as like, they struck me as knowing. They struck me as like that brother fucking like, we're gonna take your girl, and like or at least he fucking knew. So I don't know how they didn't know.
He knew. That's what I'm saying, is I don't know how they didn't know him, because they're like, you shouldn't be able to do that because you're not from here.
And weren't they like twins or something?
Yeah, they were twins. And I was just like, what is going on?
They like spoken like together, right? When they spoke, it was like both of them talking.
And we know it's not his mom that's a god, because then Everlane would be a half god. So
no,
his dad is a god.
His dad.
Dad's a god.
We just didn't, and he doesn't really know what that.
And he's a god of the the under gods. Yeah. So like, and I'm just like, I'm so like, and there's only one more book left in this series.
I mean, but her books are fucking thick.
No, they're massive. But
so
I'm just like,
she could put a lot in there, or she could do another POV of somebody, and like.
No, I'm just like, so many questions, because his dad's got to be an undergod.
Clue how many questions. I was fucking dying. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, what the fuck? Like the drop of it though, and just fucking the cliffhanger was like, I felt like I was literally just dangling at the edge. Like, I'm gonna die on this.
We started off the year in January. We got Onyx Storm from Rebecca Yarros, and we got that cliffhanger. And now I'm ending the fucking year with this cliffhanger.
I didn't even think about that shit.
Like, oh my God.
It has been It's been a rough ride, dude. You guys are just fucking with us.
These fantasy books are killing us.
Oh, man.
And then Crown Tide ended it away, too. I'm just like, where's my 5th book, Alex asked her. So, yeah, it's been a wild ride. This year has been crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so his father's got to be a god of the under gods, and then but it's interesting that the like other gods also have some play in it because he's met with the twin gods, the little girls, and with the god of chaos before, and he said that that was what time works differently because with the gods, because when he was talking to the gods originally, when he had been saved, when he had been going through the Quicksilver without a relic, he saw Ceres talking to the god of chaos.
Plus, it also makes sense that his father's a god too, because when he takes Carrion, he can do whatever the fuck he did. How did he get Carrion over there without fucking up everything too? So obviously, we should have known he was a fucking god. Like we're just fucking oblivious to.
Well, and then
the little trip ups. We're just oblivious. We're just
going back to the runes, we learned that the Silver City has been set up as a rune that drains the magic from all of the people living in Zolvarin, and that's what Madra's been feeding. off of.
I know it's just the whole fucking thing's insane. Like
okay. So you just connected this. So with Madra, she's using that rune to like absorb all the magic.
Yeah.
If they look at those feeders from Zolvarin, do you think that they have that rune?
Fuck, I don't know. I didn't even think that far ahead.
I just thought of it right now.
Oh shit. We're gonna be
we're gonna be conspiracy theorying this whole fucking book
so bad. Like
for
so much. Like I literally was so fucking upset when I got to the end, and then I had to call and see if you were done because I was like, I can't tell you the ending.
Was so mad.
I was like, but I literally was like, I can't tell you the ending. Where the fuck are you in the book?
Yeah, because you were audiobooking it, and I was reading it physically, and I was so sick that I was having to just keep taking naps.
I know, which was weird because usually I was waiting for you to be calling me. Where are you at? And I was like, that's why I was autoing it so fast. I was like, oh my god, I gotta like Katie's. I was literally anytime I had like a minute, I was listening to it. Like I was like.
When you finished it before me, I was like, what is happening in this world?
What's happening is I kept waiting for the phone call of the shit to drop, and you'd be like, where the fuck are you in the story?
No, you were
and then
like,
when I finished, I was like, oh, where's Katie? Like,
and I was like, I have like a couple more chapters, and you're like, no. I'm like, oh my god.
I think it was my first night, my first like getting off that morning,
and
getting home, and was like, what do you mean you're not done? I need to talk about this.
Yeah,
so many words.
I was so like, I went up to my husband. I was like, oh my god, blah 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 blah. He's like, I don't know anything about this.
I didn't break dishes because I was literally finishing like the last plate and dropped it in the sink because I was just, you have no clue. I don't think a book has thrown me off so bad until I was like, why are we in the dragons? This is so fucking cool. Like she's just fucking all in all the mystical shit, right? And I was just like, oh my god. And then I was like, Dad, what? And I was like, oh shit, did I? And I was like, God, I didn't break it. No. But I was like, literally. The dad fucking thing, and then it was just like, and you have read this book, which if you like, and I was like, what is happening right now? The world hates me.
I was like, when they got in through the Brimstone, and Fisher started, he was really calm, and I was like, Fisher knows something. There's got to be something with him, and there's a connection here. I did not picture his dad being like an undergod and having more siblings and he's like, oh yeah, we're in hell. I'm just like, first I was like, is this just another, again, spoiler alert for Crescent City, is this another Hunt Athalar thing?
Yeah, I didn't go there in my head.
But I was just like, but then they said father, and I was like, wait, half god. Half god. He's half god. Oh my god. Yeah. And that makes sense why he can hold on to iron and all this stuff. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was definitely shocked. I definitely was not what I was anticipating.
No, I was like, I don't even know where to go from there. And then we have like, there's so many like loose ends. Like Carrion is still not on the throne. He doesn't want to be on the throne. So what are they going to do with that? Xanathros has fallen apart now. Yeah. They have no vampires left. Except for her, which his mom said in the book, it said, you can make the choice, don't make it yet, like to change. Because she could have gone full Fae and taken the antidote, and it says it's not yet. So why does she need to be half vampire?
I don't know, dude. I'm like, this next book needs to come out. Like, too many questions.
Oh my God. I can't.
Way too exciting. All right.
I don't even know where else to say. Like, I'm just so shocked about this ending. It was so good. Okay, I guess what would you rate this book?
Okay, so I was wondering like if we should do it because like one of our friends was like, okay, so you guys rate your books, and so I read one of your books and I was really fucking unhappy. I was like, look, Katie rates certain books a certain way, so I'm wondering, okay, so like how an Audible, like it'll be like overall, it'll be like story, and it'll be like, so I'm thinking overall is definitely a 4.5 for me.
Okay,
because there was a few things I was a little disappointed in. But story-wise, this broad can write.
Yeah.
So definitely a 5. I'm assuming we're going out of 5. If we're going out of 6, let's go higher.
This might be a 6-star read for me. Onyx
okay.
Storm was also a 6-star read for me.
Okay, so if we're gonna go that high, then it was definitely a 6, and then it'd be a 5.5. Only I really loved the story, but there was like definite things that I really didn't love in it. Like, so the overall kind of had a little bit of like a but definitely recommend reading it. And I know we always give like super, but that's because like this shit had us like on the edge of our seats. I definitely was like, especially when we got to the Brimstone, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? Oh my God, where is this going? So like, it definitely, she has a way of writing that keeps you like fully engaged, except for the hour-long fucking sex scenes that I was just like.
Yeah, I guess, okay. So if we're going just on story and vibes, 6-star read. Easily for me. Yeah. I would say for the first half of this book, it got a little slow for me. The pacing was a little
There
off.
was a tiny bit.
When I would say that all of the Sanathrothian court stuff, I was kind of like, I don't really care. And she doesn't want to do this forever. So she's just going to like, we're going to learn all about this. And then it's going to, and then especially since the vampires turned, it's like, why did I spend so much time learning about this?
I'm hoping there's something in the next book.
There's got to be something else. But yeah, I think all that stuff kind of all was really slow. And then I felt like Taladeus could have been a better character in terms of like, he was just like really sad all the time. And then Zovina didn't love him. And then she's like, this is my maker. This is my maker. This is my mate. This is my maker. This is my mate. And that's my maker. And I feel both of them. And it's like, okay. I didn't like how much she used the word mate. I don't know why in this book it bothered me. I like when Kingfisher does it, but it bothered me in this one.
This time I didn't even register it.
So
you know how much I hate that fucking word, and I didn't register it.
I think if I'm gonna like critically analyze like the pacing of the book and everything like that, probably a 4.5.
Yeah, it was a little like there was some dry spots.
So yeah, that was the part that like there were a few times where I'm just like, how much is there gonna be anything happening in this book? So that would be a 4.5 for me, just because while it all is interesting and lore dumpy, some of it was just like, why do I care about this? And I'm sure book 3 will just tie it all up in a bow, but overall vibes and like, would I go back and read this book again? Hell yeah, it's a 6-star read for me.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with that. I guess when it comes to rating books, I rate books really, really easily. And it's mostly because I rate it more on vibes. I rate it less on like
I'm 100% a vibe too, because a lot of times I'll start a book and I'll be like, I don't know how I feel about this. But when I finish it, if I'm like, holy shit, then I'm definitely rating it high.
Exactly.
But yeah, like, no, it was just funny because one of my friends was like, you guys give such great recommendations. And I read a book. And so I was like, we better figure out how we're like, so just be aware. Katie and I are a little like looser with our stars.
Well, and also like, not everybody's going to like the books we read.
This is true.
I understand. And I will continue to recommend Deep End. It is the most complicated, it is the most controversial book out of the Alley Hazelwoods, other than Bride, I'd say, for whether people love or hate it. I love Deep End. Not everybody does. So that is going to be, and we'll talk about Deep End will go up this month, and you'll see how much Star and I argued in that podcast. But but again, not everyone loves these books. That's why it's book club, though. We do tend to pick books that we really enjoyed. But I also primarily vibes read, and I read a lot of like book talk vibey books anyways. So most of the recommendations I get are books that I would end up liking.
Don't worry. We're going to switch this up because I got a few books that I'm like, here, they should read this one.
There's actually one that will come out in January that you and I both did not really like a ton, or we liked certain aspects of it. So I'm excited for people to get to see that podcast, because I think we do spend a lot of time being like, this book's amazing.
Because we're like, you know,
or we'll like
why the fuck are we gonna read a book and talk about it?
Or we'll like shit on a book for like 45 minutes, like we did at the beginning of this podcast, where we're like, these are the problems in this book, and by the end we're like, this is a 6-star read. So
just because we shit on it doesn't mean that we didn't enjoy it. We still finished the fucking book.
You can find problems about it, and again, this is why it's book club. It's two like girlfriends who are just like yapping about stuff that they love and hate. So you know, this is where we're at,
right?
But if you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, our Spotify, and then all of our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and not Spotify, and TikTok. I've been roping Star into getting into some of our TikToks, so it's been fun. But yeah, if you are watching us on YouTube, I will throw up a slide to where you can see where you can follow us on all of that, and we will see you next time.